Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the 2018 AB Calculus AB Free Response question number 3, Part B. Part B asks you to evaluate the integral from 1 to 6 g of x dx. Our given information tells us that the function g is piecewise linear from -5 to 3, and g of x is equal to 2 times quantity of x minus 4 squared from 3 to 6. What we can tell from our given information and our given graph here of g is that from the function of 1 to 3, it is piecewise from our given information, and we don't need anything on this side of the graph because we're not asked to integrate from anything in the negative. So we're also going to, since we piece off the 1 to 3, we can also piece off the 3 to 6. We also know this because the graph from 3 to 6 is a curve, and the integration asks you to solve for the area under that curve. So right away, we can definitely say that we're piecing our integration into the two parts, 1 to 3 g of x dx, and the integral from 3 to 6 g of x dx. Now, from the graph, we can already do the integration from 1 to 3 very easily because since it's piecewise, we know it goes up 2 and over 2. So that means we know 2 times 2. So we can automatically say that. Also, for the second integral, it's very easy to tell how we set this up. From 3 to 6, we're just going to plug in this given information, 2 times quantity of x minus 4, into g of x dx. And we're going to get 2 times 2 plus integral from 3 to 6 times 2 times quantity of x minus 4 squared. Dx is going to be how we're going to calculate this. Of course, we already know that 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Now to solve this next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the 2 first. So we're going to put the 2 in front. And then I'm going to multiply this. And we're going to do the antiderivative of the rest of this. So this is going to be to the third power. So we're already going to know that it's going to be x minus 4 to the third. A little bit of the chain antiderivative. To the third. And then we're going to divide our coefficient by 3 because of the third. And this is just our basic antiderivative. Next, we're going to have to integrate the rest of our integral by hand from 3 to 6. Now that's going to give us 4 plus 2/3 times, and then we're going to use the fundamental theorem of calculus, which is going to be f of b minus big F of a. This is also part 2 of the fundamental theorem of calculus. So after we integrate this, we're going to end up with 8 plus 1. And finally, this is going to give us the answer of 10. So that means we can tell that the integral from 1 to 6 g of x dx is equal to 10. However, there's still another way of doing this problem. Instead of just integrating that way, we can erase everything we have from before. We're still going to integrate by hand, but this time we're going to use u substitution. Everything here is going to stay the same, but for this part, because these are in the parentheses, it's going to give us a hint that we're going to use x minus 4 as our u. So we're going to do u is equal to x minus 4. And then we're going to take the derivative of it, and we're going to go du dx is equal to 1. And of course, we want the dx on one side, so we're going to multiply by dx, and we're going to get du is equal to dx. So pulling this down, we're going to have 2 times 2 plus, and then we're going to have the integral, and then we're not going to have any limits of integration yet, and then we're going to do 2 times u squared du. So for our limits of integration for our new one, we're going to do plugging in our old limits of integration, which were 3 to 6, and we're going to plug them in for x and the u. So we're going to do u of 6 is equal to 6 minus 4, which is equal to 2. And then we're going to do u of 3 is equal to 3 minus 4, which is equal to -1. So these are two new limits of integration. So that also means that we're going to go the integral from -1 to 2. Our next step is just to use the fundamental theorem of calculus. Our fundamental theorem of calculus, we're going to use part 2 is big F of B minus big F of A. Now for this, we're going to just move this down, and I'm just going to copy this just from what we have. We already know 2 times 2 is equal to 4. So we're going to have 4 plus, and then we're going to have a big quantity of 2, and then we're going to go divided by 3 because we're going to have this change into the third power and divide the coefficient by 3. So we're going to have 2 over 3 times 2 to the third minus 2 divided by 3 times -1 to the third. And after this is all simplified, we are going to get the integral from 1 to 6 g of x dx is equal to 10.